Members, I rise to speak against the bill. Senator Whitmire, I appreciate you putting what's before us here in your words. I've never had anybody really, I've had a lot of people talk for me and all that, but not in the way you put it. You put a face with it. You made us stand up, and I hope that everybody was sitting in at their desk and watched that, because I've never seen that done ever. That the Latino members of this body just get up, and then this is who it's going to affect. And Whitmire said it, not me. John Whitmire said it. It's going to affect the Latino members on this floor. Members, illegal immigrants have been coming to this country for over a century, and probably even more than that. They've been coming for all walks of life and all walks of this nation, of this earth. And, Senator Ellis, a lot of them, they come from the South. They come from the East and West. But a lot of them came through Ellis Island in those days when they were fleeing communism, terrorism, tyranny, dictatorship, and yes, genocide. That's why they were coming to America. And Senator Ellis, when they came in the line, they came there at Ellis Island, and did we turn them away? Did we ask for their papers? Did we ask for their citizenship? Were they told, hey, you got to get on the boat and go right back where you came from? No, we welcomed them with open arms. We knew why they were fleeing. They were fleeing the terror and murder and heaven knows what else over there on the other side. That's why they came here. The very roots of probably who sits here on the Senate floor. We never asked. That I know of, none of them were ever asked, hey, you got to get on the boat and go right back. We're sorry. Or show us your papers. Show us your citizenship. Never was that asked. Members, I know Senator Lucio said that he had to, every time he goes home, he has to show that he's a citizen, that he's an American citizen. And, during session, there was an incident, and I've talked to it with a couple of my colleagues. Not everybody knows. But I'll say it tonight because I think it's appropriate. There was one night we were debating till about, I want to say it was 9 o'clock at night, and then the president let us go the next day. I had a meeting at 1 o'clock in Houston, so I decided to go home and I took a nap for a couple hours. And then I just decided, you know what, I'm going to go home, be there for that meeting, at least rest in the morning, and be there for that 1 o'clock meeting. So I packed up, drove. I'm not going to tell you where I drove to in the city that I stopped, but I didn't have gas. So I had to stop. And I gassed up and then went inside at this city that will go unnamed. And I walked in and went to the bathroom, and there was 2 police cars out front. And I went to the bathroom, and one of the police officers kind of nonchalantly followed me to the door, and the other one, I couldn't tell what the other one was doing, but I went to the bathroom. And, those of us that come from the barrio that I was born and raised, I was dressed in blue jeans, and, I like to wear a guayabera. I like to wear guayaberas, and this is the very shirt I was wearing. And a lot of us, and even I've seen Whitmire wear guayaberas, and a lot of you, because with 100 degrees heat outside, these are real cool, really, real cool, and I know a lot of y'all wear them. This is what I was wearing. So when I walked out, there was a police officer right outside the door. He didn't approach me, but I walked out, went and got a Sprite, but I could see the other officer was outside by my truck with a pad, and he looked close. And unlike you, Senator Lucio, well, they looked at me, but they also looked at my truck, and they did look at the at the license tag. Thank God. Because once he saw it, he didn't see me come out of the bathroom, when he saw it, he turned around to the other officer and started waving like this, dude, you know. So I can only, my perception is what they were going to do to me. I mean, were they going to ask me for my ID or ask if I was an American citizen? I don't know. But that was, members, number one, I learned one lesson. I will have a full tank of gas before I leave Austin, Texas. I can guarantee you that. But number two, you know, I mean, it was racial profiling to the max. I mean, racial profiling, even before Senate Bill 9 goes into effect. You know, I started wondering, well, if I wear these kind of shirts, because I wear other shirts too. You know, I like to wear this shirt. I'm from the barrio. I like to wear this shirt, and it shows Our Lady of Guadalupe in the back. And I'm sure, Senator Davis, in Fort Worth, you've seen this. Here in Austin, in Dallas, especially in the Valley. And if you look at pickup trucks, this symbol is all on a bunch of trucks. Senator Uresti, I don't mind telling you, I do like to wear the shirt. You know, and you know, I'm proud to wear the shirt. And then I also wear other shirts too when I try to relax. And this is one of my favorites. And this is Emiliano Zapata. And Senator Davis, you've seen these too. You know, and these what you wear, you know, really in my neighborhoods. You know, and I'm proud to wear the shirt. I couldn't find. I tried to find Viva Villa, but they're all sold out. And I also try to find, you know, the Mexican soccer shirts. I see a gentleman upstairs wearing it, you know, but they were sold out. You can't find one in Austin. Because I looked today. Sold out. This T-shirt. Sold out. You know, members, and then my little encounter in that small town, then listening in Senator Williams' committee, you know, on this officer that testified, and Senator Williams said, well, he misunderstood. And he really didn't know the language in the bill. Well, if that police officer misunderstood, I wonder how many other police officers are not going to understand Senate Bill 9 and the way it works. You know, and then it reminded me of our good friend in Maricopa, Arizona, our good sheriff, Senator Ellis. And you know, let me tell you about his current status. He's currently the subject of an FBI, United States Department of Justice, and federal grand jury investigations for civil rights violation and abuse of power, and is a defendant in the federal class action suit for racial profiling. And this is a letter from the Phoenix mayor about the good sheriff. Over the past few weeks, Sheriff Arpaio's actions have infringed on the civil rights of our residents. They have put our residents' well-being and the well-being of our law enforcement officers at risk. And then the sheriff has always said that he always maintained that his deputies never profile people during his crime sweeps. But then he said this. He said there are certain criteria that we go by. No ID, looking like they just came from Mexico, and they admit it, that's enough. That's our good sheriff in Arizona. And it reminded me of that testimony that I heard in Senator Williams' committee. You know, and I was looking at all the witnesses, Senator Williams, and I mean, there's a lot. I'm not going to go through all of them. There's too many, especially against. It's like 5-1 against. And I saw a lot of the clergy. There's a lot of clergy in here, a lot of police chiefs, you know, a lot of and the folks that we heard personal stories from. You know, I just, you know, hearing this bill tonight, it's just I'm struck by the question. You know why? I mean, what's the point? Why are we spending more time on this bill? What issues are we hoping to solve? You know, and I heard Senator Williams, you know, that it's not his intent, and I believe him. It's not his intent on this issue. It's not my intent on this other issue. And a lot of the good amendments that went down there, you already said it's covered in the bill. But it's not my intent to do this. But the word I always heard coming up was unintended consequences. Unintended consequences. Now, I've got Senate Bill 1070 in Arizona, and I look at the language. Then I also have the language of Prop 187, and I look at the language. And then I look at Senate Bill 9, and I look at the language. And this bill shouldn't be called Sanctuary Cities Bill. It should be called the Unintended Consequences Bill, because I promise you, it might not be the same language, but once the unintended consequences are formulated in, you will get the same results as Prop 187. You will get the same results as Senate Bill 1070 in Arizona. You will get those results. I promise you that's what's going to happen under this bill. I think everybody on this floor would agree with me that our country needs immigration reform. In fact, Senator Williams, I supported your resolution during the regular session calling on Congress. And I agreed with you then, and you asked a while ago about, making Congress, come up with some kind of immigration reform. I agree with you, and I voted with you. But our state, more than some others, as Senator Lucio pointed out, feels the effects of a broken immigration system in our country. And this legislation tonight is really, I believe, going backwards. We're going back to the 50s. Back in those days, Senator West, I hate to even say it, the Jim Crow days, the fire hoses, the German Shepherds. Why don't we just bring those out? Might as well add an amendment and bring this in. That's all this is about. When Senator Whitmire told us to stand up, I'd rather take that. At least I know it's coming. Why try to hide it in unintended consequences in Senate Bill 9? The police and the sheriff's department, especially the sheriff in Dallas County, Senator West, said, she testified that she was against the bill and said it was going to bring unfunded mandates and it was going to cost the city of Dallas and the county of Dallas. The county of Dallas. And, police chiefs and sheriffs coming before the committee said this was an unfunded mandate. And even more so, what was pointed out during the earlier debate with Senator Uristi and him going to the fiscal note and showing that it's going to affect not only our big cities but small cities also. They don't have the force to pay for this. And I believe that they came to testify for a reason. They don't have the troops, just like I told Senator Williams earlier, that our police chief, Senator Patrick, was given a certain amount of money. And the mayor told him, here, you got to work with this. If you can't work with it, we're going to lay off police officers. That's exactly what he was given. So he knows when he testified it's going to cost $4 million to the City of Houston Police Department to implement if Senate 9 goes into effect. He knows that that's what it's going to cost. And I believe that this is an unfunded mandate on police departments, sheriff's departments that came to testify that day. Members, I could go a long time, but I think we've gotten our point across. At least I have. And I wanted to point that out. It's not only the fact of the matter that people are going to be asked to show their citizenship, but look at the census. Of the people that came here, the majority was all Latino. I believe you're going to have consequences like Senator Rodriguez said. You're going to have those that don't want to come over here. You'll probably, and I would venture to say you're going to have some boycotts, just like they did in Arizona. They boycotted. And the city of Phoenix lost a lot of money. But if you look at the buying power, just look at the H-E-Bs, the Payless stores, especially in your Latino communities, they're the highest in sales. They're the highest in sales. And at one time, the Capital Bank in my district, in my community, in the Latino district, was the highest single depositor bank, single deposit bank in this state. All Latino, 100% Latino. You know, that's really what you're dealing with here. We're talking about economic opportunities that Hispanics come here for. They're buying power. I mean, their money is just as good as anybody else's. I mean, it shows up, and the sales tax is just as good as anybody else's. Because they're at the stores. You can see them. They're at the stores buying and buying and buying and paying that sales tax. And I think this bill is going to have that effect on them. They're not going to want to come outside like was mentioned, you know, or like was mentioned about Ana Hernandez. They had to shuttle. So if one of them got apprehended, at least somebody would be having to take care of the kids. That's what they're going to do here after your bill goes into effect. You know, let me close by saying, you know, I think this bill will be an open season. And I see my friends up there from Houston. This will be an open season on Latinos. I mean, just, hey, we won't stop them. I mean, just go in my district or any of the other districts here. But, you know, I'm going to tell you that if you look at the demographics of my colleagues from the other aisle, your districts are at least 20 to 30% Latino too. And you know, I think that this bill will only breed racial profiling, hate mongering, and fear. Yes, fear. And it will not serve. It's not going to serve to solve any problems. This bill, Senator Lucio said, this is the saddest day of his 24 years. This is a sad day for all of us that look like me. This bill is the most racist, Latino-bashing, anti-immigrant bill that I've ever seen. And that includes California in Prop 187, and that includes Senate Bill 1070 in Arizona. That's why I will vote against this racist bill.